blocking everything, and they were like, come on, who's next? You know, that kind of stuff. Hi guys, and welcome to what is hopefully the first of many little lightsaber tutorials I'm going to be filming with Solaari, and maybe some bigger ones, around little tricks and tips and little fight choreographies you can do with your amazing Solaari lightsaber. And it's going to be a really fun ride. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Marta. I'm an actor, stage combat performer. I work in front of the screen, in motion capture, on stage, whatever it is. Usually there's some fighting involved with it. But my area of expertise is very much in the area of stage combat, so how to make it look really, really cool for screen, for performances, while staying safe, rather than the fencing side of things where, you know, things aren't necessarily choreographed. So what my tutorials really are going to try to teach you is some really, really cool moves and embellishments that you can use for your own video purposes and personal projects, just a really cool show, just a really cool party trick. But as you can see, I would normally actually go to a more fancy location, more picturesque location to film these. But sadly, because of the current circumstances, my living room will have to do. And I was actually thinking that this is going to be a really cool opportunity because a lot of us don't have a lot of time to go to a gym or whatever, or maybe we're feeling a bit self-conscious when we're, just starting to learn a new skill about doing it in public, or even just going out into a park or something. So I'm going to try to teach you one of my favorite little spinning party tricks that you can practice in your living room and hopefully not destroy any furniture or light fixtures. And once you learn this, you are not going to be able to unsee this trick. These embellishments are used in every single lightsaber fight I've ever seen. While we're on the subject, before we get started, I want to say, if you haven't had the chance to actually buy one of these bad boys, you don't need to have it right away, and obviously the current circumstances, you might not be able to get your hands on it for another month or so. You can use different kind of sticks to practice this exact same skill, so by the time you get your hands on one of these, you're gonna be, already like spinning it like nobody's business. So essentially, what you can use, this is a normal hanbo stick. So you can get this in any martial arts store. A hanbo or a jo stick is going to be a great start. You can drop this without worrying about it. If you're not comfortable either using this or you don't have one of these yet, this kind of just normal stick, you can even just, saw off an old broom handle, watch for splinters. But that will do. I also have these kinds of practice padded Kali sticks. This will actually be, you can see that they've got a little padding around them. These are even better if you have floors that get easily damaged. Just grip it a little bit lower and you can just, see, I'm already destroying everything. But these are very, very good for indoors. They're short and they won't destroy the thing they land on. I find them very useful for practicing throws, the throws that I wasn't sure about how to catch and everything. It was a much nicer thing to land on my foot than this. And obviously, if you had a Halloween costume that involved a plastic sword, also an awesome thing to use. Anything that's basically a short-ish stick, you can use to practice this basic skill. Now, the trick that I want to show you today is called a low whip. You will have seen it in every single choreography, every movie, every fan film, every performance employs this move in some way as a transition from one hit to another, from a defense to another. It is just the coolest way to add a little bit more movement. And essentially what I love using it for in choreographies is buying some time so the other person can, either get to you, get the hit, and so it looks always like a last minute thing. That is one of the big secrets to effective fight choreography. You want to make it look like that block, that hit came in at just the last second and we just blocked it. So essentially it looks like this. I'm gonna do this a little bit more carefully because my dining room table is just there. Here we go. You go this and whip it behind you. It's called the low whip because you also have a version that is whipped above your head. But for now, we're gonna stick with this. You know, you can increase the speed. Obviously, you have to remember to move with it. Basically, this is a really cool move where you can, you know, transition into guard, block, whatever it is, blocking everything, and then you're like, come on, who's next? You know, that kind of stuff. This trick starts with a very simple thing called a figure 8. Honestly, this is also another basic move that you're going to use in everything. That's why I'm taking the time to also explain it before we go to the low whip. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start out hand outstretched to your side, and I recommend you do this with your dominant hand, left or right, doesn't matter, and then practice on both. But you're going to start with what is called a forward figure 8. Now, you're going to think about the tip of your lightsaber, and you're going to be starting to draw a big circle in front of you, and then a big circle behind you. Big circle in front of you, and a big circle behind you. Now, in the beginning, feel free to move your arm as much as you have to get the circles, to just understand this is a big circle here and a big circle here, right? What you're going to do when you start getting more comfortable with, you know, the mental pathway of doing this, because it can get quite confusing. What you're going to do is then start to move your shoulder and elbow a little bit less. So you're going to start going a little bit more here and a little bit there, you know, see, I'm not going in here anymore. And then finally, what you want to do is get most of that movement from your wrist. Now you're still going to have a bit of depth movement like that because you don't want to hit yourself with your own lightsaber. But the vast majority of the movement is going to come from your wrist. And what I want you to pay close attention to is after the front circle, when I go back, I'm now going to release. I'm basically letting gravity do the work for me. That's because most of the control for most of the techniques I'm going to show you comes from my thumb and index finger. These fingers are here to help, but your grip and your control comes primarily from these. Because also, our wrist doesn't really bend that way. You're gonna end up going really far out trying to do this, where what you should be doing is letting it go. It goes neatly behind you. So you're gonna go forward, behind, forward, behind. And so as you pick up speed, I do adjust it a little bit in terms of depth, but for the most part, my hand is out there. Now, when you're comfortable with this, we're gonna go to that little low whip part. So I start going forward and then going backwards. Now, the difference here is that I still come out to the same place. I bring my arm in and I do the next circle instead of in front of me. I continue that circle behind me. Now, once we're behind, we're like, oh, where is it gonna go? I don't understand. You're going to basically bring the lightsaber forward around your hip and continue the circle. One thing that was really, really helpful to me in figuring this out was putting the lightsaber or the stick in this nook. So I can do this, don't do that. But in this nook, because here, then you understand that your body very much wants to do this. And you just let it go. Now, I'm gonna do this one more time and try to follow along. So we're gonna go in front, behind, and then we're gonna draw the front circle again, but behind us. And we go around, get into that nook, forward, and let it go this way, and bring it back to the side. Now, as you go a little bit faster, let me try this from forward so it's consistent. As you go a little bit faster, you're gonna notice that this low whip is going to become much more natural. You're going to see that actually in the movement and the spin of the lightsaber, it's going to want to go that way. One very common mistake that I was also guilty of when I was learning was that once, we get behind us, you don't let the lightsaber travel up. It's either because you're gripping too hard, and this is then really, really hard. Make sure you got the grip controlling with the index finger and thumb, not with the whole fist. And the other thing is just, going too fast too soon. If I grip hard on the lightsaber, you're gonna try to pull the lightsaber over your hip like this. I've seen people try this, they then say, oh Marta, this move really hurts my wrist, what am I doing wrong? Or how strong is your wrist because you make it look so easy, or you're not in pain? I'm like, no, I'm not in pain because I'm not letting the stick do that. I'm letting go essentially with everything else apart from this V, and letting the stick come up the way it wants to, and then just continuing that circle. So you go one, instead of, this is basically the most common sticking point with this trick. Practice slowly until you're comfortable with this transition, and make sure that once you start picking up speed, you don't rest the lightsaber anymore. You have a nice little healthy distance and go wah. Yeah, technical term with sound effects, wah. So that is the low whip. There you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you want me to add any more videos around explaining this technique. I really, really love it. I think it's a really fun one where you can just, either just keep doing it and look really cool, or use it as that really cool transitioning move to bite and block and whatever it is. You'll see that it really just adds that little bit more panache to your choreography. And hopefully I will see you very soon.